I'm sure you've heard the rumor, there used to be a planet where the asteroid belt is now. Was it called Maldek? Maybe. Maybe not. Here's what we actually know. Ancient tales and alternative theories say Maldek exploded was destroyed in a war scattering debris into today's asteroid belt. Fact. The asteroid belt exists, and likely formed from material that never coalesced into a planet. Myth. There's no solid evidence a full-size planet once orbited there and then blew up. What science does show is that collisions' gravitational nudges from Jupiter early chaotic formation shaped the inner solar system. Still, the Maldek story sticks because it's a neat way to explain mystery and memory, and it fuels imagination. So, enjoy the legend. But remember, cool myths don't replace peer-reviewed data. Want more deep dives into cosmic myths versus facts? Hit follow, and let's keep exploring.
The Light Language Oracle has 52 different guides, all from different pantheons, and they're channeled by Chloe Metcalf directly. So you have characters like the Wolf Spirit. Then you have, and yes, it's about to get a little weird, because this does have to do with the gray aliens that formed alliances with the Draconians, take control over the Earth, and to which are also referred to as the negative agenda. These groups are also called the Black Suns, or Black Sun Agenda. These groups use technology to open wormholes that were blended together to create the power required to attempt to pull. They joined with the NAA to counteract and destroy the Christiac human guardian race for control and domination of this time vector in this universal time matrix. Many people that are direct abductee experiencers have reported differently appearing types of gray aliens and similar appearing bodies of different sizes for over the past 100 years. Aleister Crowley is a key figure in cooperating with the negative agenda, independent harm from their technologies of military weapons, genetic experiments, timeline programs, artificial intelligence, holographic inserts, astral mirages, human abductions, tagging and tracking, and astral plane manipulation. So karma is like cause and effect. And that's what karma is basically. Every cause you create, there's an effect to it. That's your karma. And then if you die, then you still have effects from those causes that you did here on the earth that are keeping you bound to the earth. Then it's likely you have to incarnate back here to the earth and be stuck in a cycle. But these Zeta beings and the negative agendas, they set up these different things that we just read about to basically set up traps for us to then put our own self unconsciously in karmic patterns that bound us spiritually and energetically to continuing to incarnate here on the earth and go back into their traps over and over, harvesting our energy. So karma and dharma, we gotta take back our awareness of our karma and dharma and become more conscious.
That this was from the Zeta Reticuli star system. Now, yeah. Now, how they obtained that, I haven't the slightest idea. But it wasn't just from the Zeta Reticuli star system. It was what they called ZR3. So it was a third planet in that.
Hello, hello. Grand day, everybody. Grand rising. Welcome to this edition of Grand Rising with ChristoLight. Let's get ready to dive in, explore more of our universal and galactic history and the knowledge of our universe. As you see, we had some fun last Wednesday exploring the gray aliens, the Zeta Reticuli, and how fascinating is it to see Joe Rogan and Bob Lazar talking about these beings, and Bob Lazar talking about in-depth experiences with vehicles that they believe are from Zeta constellation. It's so fascinating learning about the gray alien influence with World War I and World War II, as well as the many other things that we discovered last week. So as we continue along in this journey, we are now going to be diving into the planet of Maldek. Maldek has a very ancient history in our galactic history, and it's a very significant part of our galactic timeline as well. We're going to be diving in and learning about Maldek and its importance in our history, as well as the impact it had in one of the biggest shifts that our solar system has had in its history as well. So before we dive in and get into Maldek, we're going to go ahead and have a beautiful collective card reading. I'm burn a little bit of white sage for us to clear out the energy field. And I just invite us all to focus on the breath. Take a few deep breaths this rising or this day. And with these breaths, just really allow ourselves to slow down, find our grounding, find our stability, and get ready to move into our day with ease. With the breath, we're letting go of any expectations of the day, any obligations that are causing stress and anxiety, as well as anything in the past that is lingering. Let's use our breath and this white sage to clear and let go and give ourselves this moment. How's our start to the week so far? We'll be working with the Light Language Oracle. All right, let's see. It's a good time to, grab some tea, maybe a light snack, breakfast, coffee. Make that a reishi coffee, that is. It's a good time to really enjoy your morning, your rising. Whether it's a little cannabis, some tea, cacao. I invite you guys to get what you enjoy and bring it into this episode and get comfortable. So our card for today from the Light Language Oracle is going to be Persephone, the legendary divine goddess and divine feminine. Persephone is our spirit guide for today. She is number 7. Look at that beautiful crown. Persephone. Who likes mythology? I love mythology. Happy Tuesday, Brittany. Welcome in. Get cozy, enjoy. We're just getting started today. So we're going to read from the book, The Light Language Oracle. And Persephone is number 7. Persephone represents fertility, maiden, rise to conquer. Persephone is one of the most interesting of the Greek goddesses, so she is from the Greek pantheon. She fell into darkness and rose to conquer her fear and changed from a scared girl into a powerful queen of the underworld. This card reminds us that we are in control of our destiny. We either fall to death or rise to flourish. The victim will not serve you. The martyr will not either. You must take control of your choice, and you must break free and make the choice to change your life. Others will not make it be so. Only you can choose to rise and to take back your birthright, that is your crown. This is a time of new projects that will succeed. If you are trying to conceive a child, this is a sign that it won't be long before you receive the message of a positive pregnancy test. You are in a time of transition. Don't give up on your dreams. Rise and conquer. Warrior Queen. Beautiful. Sounds like it's time for some of us to make some steps in our path. We're being called to put forward our creative abilities. We're feeling the deep ankling inside of us to maybe be done with our jobs and to pursue a passion that serves the collective in a healthy, holistic, or conscious way. And if this is calling out to you right now, it sounds and feels like in the air in this collective, we are being given a lot of opportunities to start focusing and honing in on what truly matters the most to us, as well as what it is that we truly love, feel the best with, and also have innate gifts and skills to serve. It's time to take our focus away from power structures, the stories of the media, the waiting for a hero, waiting for a savior, waiting for a government to change. It's time to redirect from all of that and to redirect back within here and to cultivate what's inside of here so you can express, shine, and embody the beauty and divinity that you wish to see on this earth. The more that we just focus on what's out there, attach cords, give our energy, drain our mentalism, our emotions over these things, playing in circles and spirals with them, it just ain't gonna do it. It ain't gonna be fulfilling, and it ain't gonna feel like a divine and beautiful flow. I'm also hearing too to reach out to community, use your resources, learn, ask questions, utilize those that are around you that have similar skills or have achieved what it is that you have goals for as well. And lastly, remember your self-care, even through your dark times and even through your lowest times. Remember your self-care, remember your routines. Remember what it is that helps you feel safe in your inner child, what allows you to feel like you can flow with your authentic passion, and also feels supportive and feels loving on the outside to you. Last thing I'm hearing too is to remember your groundedness and to discern the energies that you are working with, coming into contact with, especially as you continue with your gifts of service. Discern who you are working with. So that is our card for today, Persephone, from the Light Language Oracle. All right. So how are we feeling after that collective card? Persephone. All right. So we're going to go ahead and take a 44-second break. You guys want to take a pause? And once we're back from the 44 seconds, we will dive into our study on the planet Maldek in our ancient galactic history and its relationship to our human life. All right. We're going to talk about Maldek today. All right. Maldek. The 5D planet, Terra, exploded millions of years ago, and as a result, was sucked into a reversal black hole which fragmented the entire fifth-dimensional planetary blueprint into 12 planetary bodies in our current third-dimensional solar system. These 12 planets are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Maldek, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Nibiru, or Planet X, and then the Sun star. Current science recognizes only 7 planets of the 12 in our solar system, along with dwarf planets. Wowzers. Hold on there. So, wow, there's 12 and they've only been giving us 7? Interesting. So, the planet Maldek is the counterpart of the bodily remnants of Tiamat in the third dimension universe, of which the asteroid belt exists between Mars and Jupiter. This means that the asteroid belt we see in 3D universe is Maldek's exploded planet, and the asteroid belt in the 5D universe is Tiamat's exploded planetary body. Maldek was a planet that had seeded hybridized dragon races such as the Anu that were inhabiting the planet before it exploded. The Christos Syrian blues, or blue dragons, incarnated into this harmonic universe to help heal the DNA template of these fallen dragon races. They came to work with bringing the Aurora body to help repair the genetic mutations and to be the evolution safety net during the Ascension hosting cycle. These complex networks of the Aurora portal systems and the Aurora hubs are the safety zone platforms brought to the Earth in 3D as a part of Ascension Plan B. The asteroid belt with its comets moved in a retrograde orbit, as does Nibiru. The asteroid belt has remained in the approximate place in the solar system as the former planet Tiamat in 5D and Maldek in 3D. The Nibirian Battle Star. Wormwood refers to the Nibirian Anunnaki's artificially created battle star that exists on the counter orbit to the Nibiru planet in our solar system. The alien architecture leaches onto the former body parts of exploded Tiamat, which exists as Phantom Body and is the Phantom Matrix wormhole of Tiamat. The Nibiru Battlestar was formed from the exploded parts of Maldek, The Levithian lines, or Levithian races, are a part of the history which manifests the black magic grids that were installed on the Earth during the Atlantean Kaleidosism cycle. These entities hold ancient hatred towards Earth as they believe their homeless state. The exploding planet Maldek remains in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, and being forced to work in the Phantom Realms was at the unjustified cost to their race that wanted revenge and to rule. Refugee races. Due to explosions or kaleidosisms that made certain planets uninhabitable in our solar system, such as the planets Tiamat and Maldek, our planet has been used as a relocation destination for beings referred to as refugee races, that were beings that have been displaced from their own planet because of an event of destruction on their planet. This relocation of other races on the Earth contributed to the hybridization of the original Earth human bloodlines and damage to the original DNA silicate matrix. Although many of the refugees were genetically similar to the original humans, they were much more aggressive and had destroyed their civilization through abuses of technology. The refugee races began to interbreed with the Earth-based humans in their higher-up organized breeding programs, considered the mixed race of the hybridization humans on the Earth today. Wow. Fascinating. So yeah, we have now learned that the asteroid belt came into existence from Maldek exploding, and that is also what affected Venus's rotation as well. So let's check out what Tiamat means in depth. So the Tiamat logos is the mother of life principle. The destruction and capture of Tiamat's consciousness body is what led to the utter destruction of the white solar queens, who are the embodiments of the triple solar feminine ascended masters, splitting apart the Christo Sophia as the solar feminine principle descended into lunar consciousness, forms of sexual misery, which made ascension and leaving the time matrix impossible. After the invaders systematically hunted down and destroyed the Holy Mother Sophia's representatives all over the universal time matrix, hijacking their emerald records and Solar Christ Mary wisdom teachings of spiritual alchemy and biological ascension, they set out to invert her sacred knowledge through artificial technology weapons used to spread satanic forces or parasites throughout the planetary grid. They sought to wreak havoc upon angelic humanity during the vulnerabilities of the Dark Aeon. The main technology weapon used to hold up the Dark Mother networks was a artificially generated galactic capstone network, holding together several phantom wormholes using the red cube clone version of the Tiamat logos. Reclaiming Solar Mary's Tiamat history. Since 2022, many grid wars and off-planet spiritual warfare events ensued as a result of reclaiming her massive spiritual body parts that are connected to the Solar Mary's Tiamat histories, and the reclamation and reunion of her cosmic dragon parts. This has been ongoing dismantling of the anti-hierogamic alien machinery that was used to pervert, invert, and clone her sacred image, energy signature, and Holy Spirit for assorted satanic agendas as the alien-generated Dark Mother. The reanimation of the triple solar goddess in her Solar Christ Mary form has been actively involved in the sequential activation of many Gothic cathedrals across the globe that were originally built on dragon nodes in her name, and Mary Magdalene Sophia lineage The female logos of Blue Terra was sourced from the Mahara Rishi, Blue Spirit Sun, in her sapphire flame body. So when Terra exploded, the 10D Saphir body connected to Tiamat in our time matrix exploded as well. The Blue Dragon Terra and the Blue Dragon Tiamat are twin sister Sophianic planets, and their spiritual connection was revealed as the planetary logos of twin sister female blue spirit suns held in the universal Alesia sun body that originally emerged from the sapphire diamond flame body of Mahara Rishia. They have the sapphire diamond body, Sophianic heart principle of the 10th gateway that makes up the crystalline matrix of the planets Tiamat and Terra in 5D. Thus, they are the highest diamond rose crystal heart principle embodied in the solar Rishi. That is the sacred crystal heart network of the universal time matrix. Wow. Exploring the Tiamat history. Tiamat was the living goddess of the 10th gate on planet Earth, and which was formerly Sumeria and is now Iraq. Tiamat is the female planetary logos principle and was a 5D planet. Her principle was the living intelligence gatekeeper to the Christ Buddha avatar matrix on our planet and in our solar system. She was exploded into bits by the moon chain lineages, and Nibiru who used her essence to recreate the lunar forces and to replicate her female essence to force her to birth creatures in reversal forms, anti-life. The planet Tiamat is related to the destruction of the Sophianic body and the inability of the Christo Sophia consciousness to incarnate in human forms on the 3D Earth. The female consciousness of the planet Tiamat was Sophianic. When she exploded, her consciousness descended into a collective form body, which is known as the Akamoth. Akamoth is the name for the wounded goddess' fragmented body parts, which were collected and trapped by the NAA and fallen angelics in the 2D underworld of the planetary body to incubate or impregnate archonic creations. Thus was imprisoned in the earth body in the negative form body, which manifested as the Baphomet realms. When the lower spirits of satanic nature abused her forces, all Satanists used the Baphomet field trapped in the earth as the female principle used in their conjuring or worshiping rituals. This is the source causation timeline of forced breeding programs and the loss of freedom for women to consciously participate with the choice of pregnancy and birth. The Akamoth parts were used in reversal formats to manifest creations for the NAA and was the destruction of freedom for the mother and female principle on the earth. Thus, this event impacts all women, which led to the harnessing of her body parts in the underworld, which created the Baphomet realms and the Levithian races, which are used by the Satanics. These lower realms manifested their satanic forces in a variety of ways upon the material world, and that appears as sexual misery and misogamy in all of its forms. One known alien architecture that exploited this underworld damage as a phantom matrix was used by the NAA religious models, such as the Black Madonna network, which feed into Baphomet. So, Marduk, son of Enki. Marduk, a black sun planetary logos, aka Nibiru, gave the intelligence of Enki, Ea, who decided he would invade Sumeria and play Anunnaki god to the humans, and gave his version of accounts that the Anu created the human beings, and there they were the gods of this planet. This was a way to create humans as slaves. Somehow Marduk did this to the Kamaras, whom he was showing his anger, who are the Kohan Ray Masters, otherwise known as the partially ascended masters of the New Age, El Moria, Cthulhu. There was some bad blood about human Orion wars brought karmically to the planet with this complex situation. Without Tiamat, we were unable to have our 10th chakra and all its functions work in our bodies. As she was the frequency link to communicate with our Christos avatar self, she is a part of the triple goddess formation, and apparently the merging shield is the living creature matrix to remind us that we are to rebirth our essence again and on our planetary body, and then hence our own physical body. Because we went through the wall in time on the 28th, we were able to gain access to this incredibly ancient part of ourselves. The 10th chakra has lines around our left side, and its main portal is a network from behind the left ear to the crown and to the soul star directly above our crown, about 6 to 8 inches. This is a triad communication system portal for our avatar, Christ consciousness intelligence, and without this communication hub in our light body, we cannot sense communication at the frequency level. So it is like expressing that this is the decoder of language to hear or directly sense that communication inside our body directly. The process of HSP is called direct cellular cognition. The destruction of Tiamat is synopsis with the destruction of sacred marriage, the destruction of the Hieros Gamos, thus splitting apart the consciousness of Christ Sophia. This also manifested the split in the wall in time and the shift to patriarchal domination and its election or electron distortion that was exploited by the false king of tyranny and the imposter spirit. The shift to patriarchy domination was inevitable and planned through the last cycle by the Alpha Draconian Orion group. However, the levels of destruction nearly took creation to annihilation. Wow. Tiamat and gender reversal. Tiamat is the dark fallen goddess, wounded, enslaved, and abused female archetype in the holographic architecture, which is used to distort women and female principle on this planet. Nibiru is the same, an architecture and archetype for patriarchal domination to distort males. These two planet bodies are like on a seesaw, holding a balance between them, except one body matrix Nibiru is here in our atmosphere, and the Tiamat exploded bits are congealed in a false phantom body being used as the dark fallen goddess and female counterpart to the masculine Nibiru. This Frankenstein alien machinery is embedded in the 11th Stargate network. There are artificial wormholes in parts of the time and space fabric that are vulnerable and weak from alien artificial manipulation, and it's a connector between here in 2012, the Nibiru planetary body matrix, and the Tiamat exploded planet, of which its combined memories are kept to inflict pain in the human soul bodies in the next density, and here. The pain of Tiamat is part of the construct used as a phantom system to artificially inflict these painful memories and its residue upon the human race. They squirreled parts of her wounded body bits in 2D and used her consciousness to move in and out of time portals. This has been brought to my attention as this construct has something to do with the NRG, grid feed line in Stonehenge, and is something that holds the Vesica Pisces and harness through this construct, which reversal feeds and distorts our true sacred marriage of divine equals, as in the crystal star Hierogamos Union, Nibiru, the Anunnaki planet, has used the female planet Tiamat post-explosion as the female balance to power its artificial machinery, which keeps its movement to and with the Earth in an artificial orbit. This alien artificial machinery is called wormwood. Wow. The Maldek explosion. As you read onward, consider that some of us are awakening to be the spiritual adults in the room. Thus, this information is not intended to everyone. The hidden history reveals now is densely packed with many intricate tool and is difficult to process. Please remember the purpose of this information is to have proper context and knowing that in order to solve the genetic hybrid programs of the angelic human race, we must first awaken to seek truth and know the problem exists. When we can see the accurate source of the global problems plaguing humanity, then we can ask the right questions. Further, we must know as we enter the lumitous crossroads of human evolution that AI technology has been used covertly for terraforming the planet to become hospitable to the invaders, and that their agendas for alien hybridization with humans is a source of rampant spiritual disconnection and damage to the crystal gene. This genetic hybridization damage has accumulated a tremendous amount of buried traumas in the angelic human race, which further unravels into manifestation of mass inner and outer violence. When identified correctly, only then we can begin to take the steps to solve those problems more effectively and remain in alignment to natural laws. The Emerald Guardians are alerting us to what humanity is being exposed to at this particular stage and why the planet and humanity are undergoing a mass Enki DNA overlay extraction, along with covert confrontations that flush out and force the eviction of the invading species, which initiates sudden physical purges of miasmas, ancestral genetic clearing, and deep cellular spiritual purification. Wow. So we'll pick up on that in here just a moment and continue. But for now, we're going to take a moment and check out a video by Debbie Solaris, one of our pioneers of galactic history communication. Grand Rising Queen, welcome Jonathan if you're still here. All right, we're gonna watch a video from Debbie Solaris to kick off our videos, and then we'll actually go back into reading a little bit more, and then we will finish out with the rest of our videos.
Maldek is a planet that used to be located between Jupiter and Mars, which is now the asteroid belt. So the asteroid belt is the remnants of an ancient planet called Maldek. They ended up having a civil war and they blew themselves up. A big part of the reason why a lot of us are here right now as starseeds is to prevent that same fate for planet Earth. Mars had colonies that contained a lot of beings from the Orion system. Some benevolent, some not so benevolent. So we're talking about Zeta Reticuli individuals, so that would be the gray aliens. We're talking about insectoids along with humanoids. Some of the tall whites were also on board Mars. Mars carries a lot of masculine energy, so their symptoms and their issues will be very similar to the Orion. So heart issues, yeah, a lot of heart. I see that also with Maldekians. Maldekian people were people that I kind of jokingly call them the Australia of the solar system, because they were people that were kicked out of Orion because the Orion government didn't want to deal with them. So they just shipped them off to Maldek. And so there was a lot of infighting in Maldek. It was not a very pleasant planet to be on.
So that was Debbie Soloris just briefly talking on Maldek and the kind of energy that was taking place. And it's very fascinating. You know, you hear about that and then you see about this history. It's so like incredible to think of like where we are now on this planet and how we have seen a lot of this taking place. Very much so even today in this present time. So it's no coincidence what's going on and how we got here to this point. So let's go ahead and continue with our reading with the Maldek explosion. We're talking about, wow, that's a lot. Okay. All right, I'll read just a little bit of this because there's quite a bit. Violation of nature, Maldek explosion, and alien visitors. So when exploring more of this theme, we must know that the mechanics of the universal laws are in perfect harmony with the organic living creations of the natural world, and that the nature of evil comes into manifestation as the direct consequence of violating these natural laws. Violating nature is synonymous to spiritual disconnection and painful suffering. Violating natural laws such as genetically experimenting and hybridizing with the original angelic human DNA in order to make consciousness slaves to serve as anti-human invader agenda contains the major historical timeline trigger events for the spiritual disconnection humanity has suffered at the hands of the Belial group. These important events of inserting Enki DNA overlays into the humanity commenced during the orchestration of several NAA invasions on the planet, which were under the direct supervision of a master geneticist, a cloned alien hybrid, Siam Enki, and his Syrian Anunnaki brethren that crashed on Earth during the Mars-wearing conflicts, which ultimately led to the complete destruction of the planet Maldek. After the explosion of Maldek, the damage and destruction has ensued in our solar system displaced many of the local reptile species, some of which found themselves on the Earth. The Anunnaki High Priestess were consulted and they were made aware that the planet was the repository of the universal genetic library, being cultivated by the mysteriously absent forces of the ancient builder races. Those we know as the Emerald Founder Elohim. The Emerald Founder Elohim had designed and seeded many living gardens, filling with diverse species through which to evolve upon this planet, as the Christo's Diamond Sun angelic human race have been displaced from the original Terran world and were intended to act as the guardians of the genetic library, as well as the protectors to the Emerald Crystal Heart Network of the Universal Mother of Life, Tiamat. This beautiful natural garden was in its earliest stages of evolutionary growth, lended to by the Sirius B, Maharahi, and the Blu-ray Melchizedeks from the inner earth, and many were being spiritually guided by the Anuhazi, Muwa, through the emerald crystals connected to Tiamat, in which the magnificent splendors of the planet's natural beauty appeared as a Edenic paradise to the arriving alien specters. So let's go ahead and talk about or read about these Enki DNA overlays. So the Enki DNA overlays The Emerald Guardians are alerting us to what humanity is being exposed to at this particular stage, and why the planet and humanity are undergoing a mass Enki DNA overlay extraction, along with covert confrontations that flush out and force the eviction of the invading species, which invaded sudden physical purges of miasmas, ancestral genetic clearing, and deep cellular spiritual purification. Aho. The planet is undergoing another dilation of the bifurcated portions of the planetary timelines, with the emergence into yet another cosmic clock, solar shield template, forming into a spherical domain designed by the Rainbow Arc Bridges section for the incoming solar consciousness identities to station themselves or reside. This higher section is shifting into total alignment to the cosmic clock's solar calendar positions with its master emerald timekeeper solar clock shield template, opening the creation door, which governs the planetary time matrix in which those first ascending waves are stationing ourselves into consciousness alignment. This requires the shedding of lunar overlays that include the process of atomic transmutation of corrupted elements at the one-dimensional base shield level and the ongoing extraction of Enki DNA overlays and all related Enki skins used to falsify or clone identities for the use of negative agenda invaders and imposter spirits. Okay. Oh, so this is where the black cube and the red cube comes in, and they create blockages on the tree of life. Very interesting. Enki skins. Okay, same thing basically. Wow, such fascinating stuff. And I think we'll go ahead and just leave it right there for the studying. And then we'll move into our videos for today. And then we'll wrap up for this episode of Maldek. Feel free to leave comments. Let me know how you guys are feeling about this information, what kind of downloads or triggers that you receive as well. But go ahead and enjoy yourself, kick back. We're going to watch a couple of videos about Maldek as well as Tiamat, and then we'll be out of here for today. So I thank you guys, enjoy these videos, and feel free to comment and share in the comment section.
What if our asteroid belt was once a planet teeming with life and civilization? A planet that met a tragic end, its remains scattered across the cosmos. Welcome to the story of Maldek, a tale of cosmic catastrophe and rebirth as detailed in the raw material. Once upon a cosmic time, nestled somewhere in the vastness of our solar system, existed a planet named Maldek. Its third density population, much similar to our own, was advancing rapidly, harnessing technology and knowledge at an
Do we have a AI era? Let's give it one more try.
What if our asteroid belt was once a planet teeming with life and civilization? A planet that met a tragic end, its remains scattered across the cosmos. Welcome to the story of Maldek, a tale of cosmic catastrophe and rebirth as detailed in the raw material. Once upon a cosmic time, nestled somewhere in the vastness of our solar system, existed a planet named Maldek. Its third density population, much
Okay. We'll go ahead and try another video then.
I remember the silence before it ended. Before the great tearing, before the light fractured into shadow, before the planet we called home, Maldek, was no more than shattered stone drifting in cold orbit between Mars and Jupiter, there was stillness. Not peace, not harmony, but the kind of stillness that comes just before something breaks. It was as if the planet itself held its breath, as if it knew what we refused to see. We were brilliant once. Maldek wasn't chaotic or primitive, it was advanced, a civilization woven from knowledge and
Okay. So we'll just give technology a second, and then we will try the videos again in just a moment. So with that being said, we're going to take a moment, be present. I like tea. You guys like tea? What's some of your guys' favorite teas, actually? I have a lemon and chamomile tea that I'm sipping on today on this rising. Okay. That's so strange. Butterfly pea flower. Interesting. What is that exactly? Like what kind of flavor and health benefits does that have? I actually haven't heard of that. Pea flower. Oh, butterfly tea. What's that? Do do do. Ah, boy. All right, I'm gonna give the videos a try again. Let's see how it does.
What if our asteroid belt was once a planet, teeming with life and civilization? A planet that met a tragic end, its remains scattered across the cosmos. Welcome to the story of Maldek, a tale of cosmic catastrophe and rebirth as detailed in the raw material. Once upon a cosmic time, nestled somewhere in the vastness of our solar system, existed a planet named Maldek. Its third density population, much similar to our own, was advancing rapidly, harnessing technology and knowledge at an unprecedented rate. But, as with any power, the misuse of these advancements was their downfall. The civilization of Maldek, much like the legendary Atlantis, wielded their technological prowess without regard for the preservation of their planet. They were entrenched in warfare, believing their actions were in the best interest of others. This self-serving attitude, however, led to the escalation of destruction, ultimately resulting in the disintegration of their planet. The devastation was so severe that Maldek's inhabitants were left in a state of profound trauma, a social complex knot or tangle of fear, as described by Ra, from which none could escape. Their entire society was trapped in this perpetual fear, unable to reach out or receive help for what would equate to thousands of our years. Eventually, members of the Confederation, a collective of ascended alien souls, managed to reach these traumatized beings. They untangled the knot of fear, reminding the people of Maldek that they were conscious beings. Having regained their consciousness, these beings decided to undergo a healing process. They chose to alleviate their karma by incarnating on Earth in non-human, second-density bipedal physical vehicles. These vehicles are a variety of creatures collectively known as Bigfoot. Despite the physical limitations, they retained their third-density consciousness, using their new forms as a self-imposed limitation. Over time, the majority of these entities have managed to overcome their self-imposed limitations and rejoin the normal third-density experience. This story serves as a reminder of the potential consequences of technological misuse and the power of redemption and spiritual evolution. In summary, the tale of Maldek, as per the raw material, is a profound story of a civilization's rise and fall, its journey through fear and trauma, and its eventual redemption through reincarnation and spiritual growth. The implications of this story are far-reaching, inviting us to reflect on our own paths and the choices we make in our pursuit of progress. The story of Maldek, while fascinating and mysterious, is also a cautionary tale, reminding us about the importance of conscious living, respect for our planet, and the interconnectedness of all beings in the universe. It's a tale of cosmic proportions, etched in the very fabric of our solar system, inviting us to ponder on the mysteries of existence and our place in the cosmic scheme.
All right. Video number 1. Success. I think the issue is just I was trying to upload a Tiamat video from YouTube. So I think that was taking too much power away from the live stream. But we'll go ahead and continue. This second video, this is about a starseed's memory of being on planet Maldek and surviving the destruction of the planet. So this is from another starseed and his memories that he was able to remember through his Akasha.
I remember the silence before it ended. Before the great tearing, before the light fractured into shadow, before the planet we called home, Maldek, was no more than shattered stone drifting in cold orbit between Mars and Jupiter, there was stillness. Not peace, not harmony, but the kind of stillness that comes just before something breaks. It was as if the planet itself held its breath, as if it knew what we refused to see. We were brilliant once. Maldek wasn't chaotic or primitive, it was advanced, a civilization woven from knowledge and resonance. We built cities in the crystal caverns of the inner crust. Towers of mineral and light rose from the tectonic ridges, conducting energy not through wires, but through harmonic frequency. Our power came not from combustion or conquest, but from balance, at least, in the beginning. We knew the secrets of vibration, the language of elements, and the geometry of creation itself. But even the most elegant mind is vulnerable to corruption. And that was our downfall, not a single choice, not one weapon, but a slow, collective forgetting of what we were meant to protect. We began to split, not just ideologically, but spiritually. Some believed in preservation. Others, in expansion. The more we learned, the more we wanted. The more we built, the more we felt invincible. I was there, in the last generation. We had weapons that could fracture moons. We had machines that harvested planetary cores. And in our arrogance, we built one final device, not for defense, not even for war, but for dominance, a planetary-scale resonance disruptor. It was meant to control natural frequencies, to suppress uprisings, to stabilize unruly regions. It was, we told ourselves, for peace. But peace born from fear is never peace at all. When it activated, the feedback was catastrophic. The planet didn't just crack, it sang a scream through the solar system. What remained of us was flung into the void. I don't remember dying. I remember becoming light, torn from form, torn from purpose, torn from everything familiar, and drifting into silence for what felt like eons. And then, I began to remember. Not immediately. Not in a flash. But in fragments. I would dream of structures I had never seen in this life. I would hear tones in the wind that made me weep without knowing why. I would walk through forests on Earth and feel grief for a kind of nature that no longer existed, lush, intelligent ecosystems that breathed in rhythm with their people. I was reborn here, on this world, like many others who survived not physically, but energetically. We call ourselves Maldekians, not in pride, but in mourning. We are the fragments of a broken memory, the souls who carry both the brilliance and the mistake. We are not here to warn. We are here to heal. Because Earth now stands where Maldek once did, in that quiet moment before the breath breaks. And this time, the ending can be different. When I was born on Earth, I arrived like anyone else, screaming, blinking into bright light, lungs aching for breath. But even in that tiny, fragile form, I could feel it, something was missing. Something vast and unspoken lived in the space between each heartbeat. As I grew, I would search for it everywhere, in books, in sound, in the silence between conversations. No one else seemed to hear it. No one else felt the hum beneath the ground, the sorrow in the oceans, the subtle pain that leaked from technology and crowded cities. For most of my life, I believed I was simply different. They called me sensitive, said I felt too much, thought too deeply. But how could I explain that I wasn't just reacting to this life? I was remembering another. And the remembering came slowly, like fog creeping in at dawn, shapeless at first, but unmistakable once it settled. Sometimes it arrived in dreams. I would see skies of pale violet, enormous trees with bioluminescent leaves, towers of transparent crystal emitting tones so pure they made my bones ache. Other times, the memories came through sound, a frequency in a train whistle, or the way wind moved through telephone wires. It would stop me cold. Make my chest tighten. As if some part of me recognized a song I hadn't heard in 1,000 lifetimes. I didn't know then that these were fragments of Maldek, echoes of a world I once helped build, and helped destroy. And yet, despite the guilt buried in my soul's fabric, I could not ignore the pull. The pull toward healing. Toward systems. Toward harmony. Maldekians are not warriors. We are architects, energy weavers, restorers of equilibrium. And so even as a child, I would line up my toys in perfect symmetry, build structures out of sand that collapsed in my absence, organize my thoughts into patterns no one else could understand. The earth felt heavy to me, not just physically, but energetically. So much noise, so much fragmentation. People rushed through their days, never stopping to listen. Not to each other. Not to the planet. Not even to themselves. But I was always listening. Because deep inside, I remembered what happens when a world stops listening. There are others like me. We don't always recognize one another at first. Sometimes we meet in strange places, in a bookstore, in a dream, in the moment two eyes lock and suddenly both souls go still. There is no language for it. Only a knowing. A vibration. A mutual ache. We do not speak of Maldek. Not often. Not out loud. The word itself tastes like sorrow. But we know. And we carry the same mission, not to interfere, not to warn, not to preach, but to guide the pattern back to balance. To be the quiet ones who anchor harmony in a world slipping toward the same choice point we once failed to navigate. Earth is beautiful, more than Maldek ever was. But it is also fragile, living on the edge of memory and mistake. And that's why we are here. We are not survivors. We are reminders. In time, I stopped resisting what I had always known. The memories no longer frightened me. The grief became something sacred, something I carried not as punishment, but as a reminder of why I came. I began to see patterns in chaos, structure in decay. Not with my eyes, but with something deeper. Something older. The earth, I realized, speaks in the same language that Maldek once did. Not in words or equations, but in frequencies. The rivers hum. The mountains chant. The wind, if you're still enough, sings like a low harmonic, vibrating through the bones of the planet. I remembered how to listen. Not as a human, but as a Maldekian. As one who once forgot and had returned, this time, to remember. My hands are no longer meant for building towers of control. They are meant for tuning subtle energies, of people, of places, of timelines. I find myself drawn to the ancient sites on Earth, not for tourism, but because they call. Standing in certain places, I can feel the buried memory of Earth's own resonance grids, waiting to be activated not through force, but through intention. I do not need technology for this. I am the technology. And I am not alone. We are scattered across this world, souls who bear the ache of old collapses, old arrogance, old ruin. Some came from Atlantis. Some from Lemuria. Some, like me, from planets whose names are whispered in vibration only. We find each other through resonance, through shared silence, through the way our bodies react when truth passes unspoken between us. If you are reading this, and something within you is trembling, not in fear, but in recognition, then you might be one of us. You might be carrying the hum of Maldek too. We are not here to be loud. We are not here to lead revolutions or build empires. We already tried that. It ended in fire. We are here to hold the line when everything else shakes. We are here to be the quiet tuning forks that gently realign the grid, not by preaching, not by controlling, but by embodying balance. You've likely been told your whole life that you're too sensitive, too strange, too intense. You were never too much. You were too awake for a world that has not yet remembered what it lost. But it is remembering now. The tremors have begun. The pattern is shifting. And that's why we returned, not for revenge, not for redemption, but for realignment. Not to mourn the death of a world, but to midwife the birth of a new one. So hold steady. Hold quiet. And when the earth hums, hum back. Because you are not just someone trying to survive this lifetime. You are the echo of a planet that once fell, and the song of one that still might rise. I am Maldekian. And I remember.
Wow. What a testimony of this individual's memories within his soul. I mean, how fascinating is that? To hear a testimony of the memories that an individual has surrounding being on Maldek. And then even remembering why they're here on Earth now. You know, that's something I help people with is I access the Akashic records pretty easily. And I offer Akashic soul origin meditations to help people tap into their galactic history. I also help people connect with their soul origin or their starseed lineage. And then we also do soul retrieval or DNA activation from the different planetary systems that we travel to in the guided meditation. So it's like a quantum hypnosis, Akashic record reading, channeled meditation, rather than a Q&A. And you get to go through your own meditation and go through your own inner processing while also receiving codes and light language and energy healing as well. Very beautiful. I've actually done 2 sessions this week, and I have another session tomorrow. The last 2 have been avian souls. So they discovered that they were avian star seeds, and they came from Lyra and some other things as well. So you guys can always book that session with me. Reach out down below in the ticker in the description. You guys have my socials, and you guys can book sessions with me anytime. Just reach out directly. My scheduling site is no longer active. I know it says 101 healing sessions or holistic healing on the link page, but right now I'm working on a new format to allow you guys to access what services I have available. So just reach out to me directly if you need to, and I'll answer any questions for you. So we're going to watch our last video, and then we're going to call it a day. And this is going to be about Tiamat.
The moon is called Lamu in the ancient Mesopotamian and Babylonian texts. It's in the tablets, and it used to be a moon of an orbiting moonlet of Tiamat. Just like Jupiter has all those moons, well, Tiamat had a lot of moons too. Tiamat was the 3rd planet originally, and it was 4 to 6 times larger than Earth. Massive planet, supermassive, with water and life and land. And Tiamat, now in the early part of the solar system, during the early years, our solar system gravitationally captured another mini solar system. Okay, it was a brown dwarf with planets orbiting it. If one of those planets or one of those moons, one of those planets crashed into Tiamat, breaking it into pieces. A huge chunk swung away, became the Earth, taking a lot of the life and water and everything with it, recoalesced with the Earth. It also gravitationally, it tugged the moon along with it. So the moon came into orbit. Now, much later, you find that the Anunnaki had visited the moon and converted the moon into a way station or a base, a moon base. They hollowed out a lot of the interior of this structure. They built substructures underneath the surface, and they made an entire base on the opposite side. What they did was they set the moon into a locked orbit with Earth to where only one side shows as we spin. As we rotate on our axis, the moon rotates at the same exact speed, only giving us one face, while they hide themselves on the opposite side. We call it the dark side of the moon. We discovered objects on the dark side of the moon in a mission called the Clementine mission. The Clementine mission was a military satellite, a low lunar orbiting satellite that was sent up, and it was in a low lunar orbit, and it crashed into structures on the opposite side of the moon and never came home.
All right. That was Billy Carson talking about Tiamat a little bit. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Feel free to drop comments and feedback, reflections, things of that nature. And I'll be with you guys again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern for the next episode of Grand Rising with ChristoLight. And then later today, if you guys want, tune in at 4 p.m. Eastern for Sandy Marshall, as she will be continuing her series, Soul Awakening Podcast, Living Karma and Dharma. And she's going to continue to educate us on the universal laws and correspondence to karma and dharma as a human being on earth. She reads out of many different books and texts and has wonderful, wonderful content to help enlighten and bring consciousness to the being. So I thank you guys for your support. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't. Please share this information and knowledge with anybody that you see fit and this could benefit on their journey. And reach out if you want one-on-one healing services. You want to sign up for any retreats. If you'd like to join my international online community to develop your skills and share and grow with a New Earth community, that is available for you too. And I also distribute reishi coffee, clinical grade lab tested reishi coffee that is actually cheaper than most standard coffees as well. So just reach out if you have questions. Thank you, Brittany. You have a beautiful day as well. Thank you for participating and being a part of this live. Till next time, one love. Our founder claims, this right here is an embodied form of the violet ray spectrum. Tap in and tune in Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern, live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Grand Rising with ChristoLight, your sacred space for discovering the Ascended Masters in crystal healing. Ashe.